I like to kind of figure out, okay, what is the sound world through conversations with the director, and very often, before rehearsals even start, I know what the world sounds like. I don't have all the cues, of course, but I need to figure that out. That's just for me, otherwise I can't sleep. If we start rehearsals and I don't know what the play sounds like, I will have an ulcer. Roland, I'm so happy to see you.
Hello, Deb. Hi. Amazing. Look at you.
Look at you.
Great to see you, man.
Where are you right now?
I am in Spain, in Sagunto, which is close to Valencia.
Right.
And I hear you had snowstorms in Canada.
We did.
We had 24 degrees yesterday in Alicante, which is also sort of annoying. Should not be that way in the end of
True.
February.
True. It's so great to talk to you in the context of this this series, this kind of backstage conversations where theater practitioners talk to each other, because you and I have known each other for a very long time. I mean, you know this story, but the people watching don't know. I met my wife doing one of your shows, Arabian Nights, with Ross Manson here in Toronto as the director. And my wife is the curator at the Goethe Institute, and they had a stage reading for Summer Works, which is a theater festival here. And my band provided the music for the reading. And I remember I was not so involved with theater at the time. I was really concentrating on playing music and touring and building my career in that realm. And all through that piece, I remember being struck because you talked about water in the walls and how it sounded like music. And I had never, I mean, I'd never really paid much attention to plays and theater before then. I had friends who were involved in the theater scene in Toronto, but I was a real music nerd. I wanted to learn about the instruments that I played, and I even though my sister is an actor and a writer, it was just kind of this thing that was there, but I didn't know so much about it. But I was so struck by the way you talked about music, and the way it was a character in the play, and the way it was just always, it was present, even when you weren't talking about it in the play.
It's interesting that we got in touch with Arabian Night, which was probably the first work where, no, maybe not the first, but where I was when I felt sort of more or less close to what I was actually aiming at. So that you say something, and this phrase has a body, a vibe, like a drum a little bit, or or something like that, and that is, and then and in Arabian Night, and I didn't see the show where you were on. I
Right.
just heard about a lot of it. I heard a lot about it from
Right.
several sides,
Great.
not only the beautiful private story, but also about the whole setting. Um, well, in that play, sort of, yes, dialogue, phrase, actor, narration gets sort of it's getting to some sort of more complex, complete thing,
Hmm.
which is it's some sort of body of music in itself. And now checking on your music again, I mean, I have some of your CDs, and those CDs are in Berlin, so I had to look for them now on internet, but there was, thank God, Bandcamp, no problem.
Oh,
And
excellent.
and then I discovered a disc I didn't know, The White Dog.
Ah, right.
And that was so interesting because of the layers and the time trip. You were referring to time, and I mean, of course, you have a time frame for a piece, and you have a frame for a play or a scene or a monologue or whatever, an act. Um, But here, since you combine sort of the old and the new,
Hmm.
you're twisting time.
Ah, I never thought of it that way, actually. But I see what you yeah,
It's a dialogue, or it's, or I mean, I would say, oh, it's layers one on top of each other, but you can't hear one thing without the other. It comes together. Uh, and that was for me highly fascinating, I have to say.
huh.
Beautiful,
Oh, thank you.
absolutely beautiful. This, because that's what I'm saying. It is a way of of storytelling,
Sure.
and I was so happy to discover this, and I was so happy that I found discovered something. It doesn't happen so often, you know, that you listen to something and your ears grow and grow and grow and grow.
Right.
I don't know when that happened to me the last time. It's really quite a while ago. So that was a really a great experience and sort of opening horizons. And 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 that is something a good line in theater always also does. If it's what that's why you have that's why you still remember these motives in the Arabian Night, the water,
Right, sure.
because it's creating some sort of image and sound that you stay with.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that keeps me fascinated about theater in general. I mean, I think you're masterful at doing this, but there is a kind of, imperative when you work in theater, the way you listen to the words that are being spoken, just because it's on a stage and it's a heightened kind of context of listening to words. So you are somehow exposed to or um, receptive to the full ramification of every sentence. You know what I mean? And we can direct that as theater artists, we can direct what those ramifications are. But I think the thing that's most exciting is when they're all in existence and we can encounter these new connections that we wouldn't have normally made before. The stories you were telling and the way you were using language, although it's different in English and German, of course, but the stories you were telling and the ways they interacted, it was because I mean, partly was because, like, I wanted to read it again before we had our talk, but it was because that every sentence that I encountered had so many possible ways to resonate with me and within the story. And so that when, like when you hit a bell and the sound goes out, and then you hit another bell and that sound goes out, and then they interact and they cause this thing, this beating, you know it's going to happen, but you don't know what it sounds like until it happens,
I
right?
mean that's a key word, resonance. Absolutely. This and you just said that you had been teaching. I teach as well, not the whole time, but there's always workshops and classes going on, and that is something I'm always aiming at to get young writers to get a feeling for resonance and rhythm as well, but let's say resonance, and that is in terms of the sound of the word and also of the argument. It's not only the sound, it's also what you're saying and that your opening line can resonate in a way that it's defining a whole play. And it's you throw that stone and you see the rings in the water where it sort of it grows and grows. That's that's something absolutely beautiful and not so easy. You have to learn that. I think it's something. Well, I'm still getting. I'm still learning that, and this sort of to get the feeling of what is the tone.
I think maybe some of the people who are watching don't know this, but you're also a director. And so you primarily direct your own work?
I always stage my own stuff. That's true. They never give me other plays to stage. I always say, hey, I want to do Shakespeare.
Like, absolutely not.
They don't let me. They don't let me. I would be sort of really obedient. I would really follow the words and would try to make it sound. I would give my best. Hello, but no. Apparently, it's my own work, and and that also it's helps sometimes because there's some plays might sound more funny, even though they're pretty serious when I stage them. So I don't like to stage myself with a lot of self-respect. I like to attack my own work, and that's also fun. And also that's interesting if you stage your if you direct your own stuff, it gives you a chance of without changing the words of doing a little remix.
Right.
It's like when you go, I don't know if you take a look at your old material and you say, no, I will do something with this I didn't do before. I will change sort of the equalizer. That's quite nice.
Sure. Yeah, well, that was my next question is, like because you were talking about the dialogue and you start in a room that has an architecture around it, a space, a tone, a resonance. And as a writer, you can kind of sense the way you want to let that land. But of course, every production is different, and you're not having the dialogue in real time. So, in a way, like that, isn't that frustrating?
Yes and no. It's interesting because you don't. Yes, you can't. It's also good. You can't plan it all. You never get it all. It will never be perfect. Let's say that's part of the fun. That it's not perfect. It will never be. It can fail, but it's handmade, and that's the nice thing. I mean, we know this, but it's worth repeating because that's the way. That's why we do it.
The process of putting your design into a theater, I'm sure the lighting designers and the set designers feel the same way. But, like to go in there and be just, if it's a smaller theater, it's just me, or if it's a larger one, me and the sound tech, and to go, okay, let's play this thing I made in this humongous space with 400 speakers. Like, oh my God, it is absolutely the best. A bit self-indulgent, but it also,
Absolutely,
that's fine. That's,
that's fine.
we take our joy where we can take it, right?
Absolutely, that's fine, and that's yeah, yeah. I see, and I mean, then and you have to share it at some point. Audience will come in,
Yeah,
hopefully, and then
hopefully.
it's a different thing.
I always say, for all the work you do before you hit the stage and we hit the technical rehearsals and all that, there is nothing like playing that, getting everybody in the space and going, okay, let's try this thing. And then you get to play the sound cue for everybody in the theater, the empty theater. And you just see I just love that moment because, assuming you've done it right, you can just watch everybody, like everything kind of falls into place. And everybody, they hear that sound, and all of a sudden, the whatever is happening inside everybody's head gels, and it kind of goes ka-chunk, and it's there. And there's something about playing that sound cue for people, even when they're all in their street clothes and we just have the works on. That moment of being able to offer people this uh, grounding is such a precious thing, and I love it every time.
I have a question for you. You said that Arabian Night was at the beginning of your theater music career.
Fairly early on, yeah. Fairly early on. I mean, I was doing a little bit of theater, but mostly as a live musician. Maybe I was accompanying a play or something, or I was working with another talented sound designer composer here in Toronto, John Zosky. He was in that band that did the music for Arabian Night, but he was busy doing a play, so that's why he was not the conductor. I was the conductor for the ensemble. And so occasionally we were actually roommates, and so occasionally he would be like, "Oh, I have tech in this one theater, but I'm also in tech in this other so I would babysit some of his shows. And so that was kind of where I was at with my theater career. At that time, it was really just one of the things that I did. I did a lot of different things because you have to do a lot of things to survive, and that was one of them. But that was like one of the first plays where I kind of went, "Wait a minute. What is going on? What is going on here? What is this thing, theater?" Even though I kind of knew it, but it was not a part of the circle of curiosity, I guess, in a way. It was more like, "Okay, I can go do this. John needs me to look at this and make these changes in his cues or whatever." But it was not something where I was going, "Oh, this is the thread of something that's gonna pull me through my life, my creative life, my life in general." It was not something that I had realized then, and I can trace it back to, again, Arabian Nights and going, wait a minute. What is this thing? I should look into it."
So how would you say now that a little time has passed
Little.
after Arabian Night and today? Did how would you define your or how would you see your journey in theater? Is it do you see it in the same way, or has it changed for you, or what is?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's the I've said it many times I think, like, I've made so much music and sound, and I've thought about sound and storytelling in ways, in theater that I never would have otherwise. Like, I was telling somebody, if somebody gave me $50 million and said, "Just go make music for the rest of your life," I never would have made anything that I had made for theater, because every show is like a different world, right? As you know. So you build this world that's different every time. And they're never worlds that I would consider or dream up or even see in a dream. And so to me, theater has made me like working outside of music, working in theater, working with contemporary dance, and having conversations with people that are not sound makers or musicians has made my practice so much deeper and I don't want to say refined, but maybe simple, I think. I think there's when you're young, you wanna do like, "Oh, I wanna make this I'll have a string quartet, and then I'm gonna use this crazy microphone and this bizarre like, that's what you do when you're young. You experiment and you get excited, and now it's really like, "Can I cut that sound cue? I really feel like I should cut that sound cue." Like, that's the thing that I'm thinking about. Or, "This sound cue has 6 layers in it. I actually only need 1. I'm gonna get rid of all this other stuff." It's really about just getting rid of stuff now, uh, you know? It's really about like, "Oh, I've made this beautiful thing." No. I remember we did, again, happens to be one of your shows. I honestly didn't plan this, but, we did Idomeneus a while back at Soul Pepper, right, with Alan, and, I was so excited because it was one of your shows as well, and then the things that, formally, in terms of its form, it was very challenging, kind of like Winter Solstice, which we just did, but it was a very challenging play to do because of the formal frame you put around the writing and the stories and the episodes, I guess. We kinda cracked the nut. I like to kind of figure out, okay, what is the sound world through conversations with the director, and very often, before rehearsals even start, I know what the world sounds like. I don't have all the cues, of course, but I need to figure that out. That's just for me, otherwise I can't sleep. If we start rehearsals and I don't know what the play sounds like, I will have an ulcer. So, I had figured out the sound world. We had lots of conversations. We came up with all these interesting ideas that sounded good. I was looking through it recently for some reason. I can't remember why. I was looking through the archive, and there is so much there that, excuse me saying so, sounds incredible. Like, I am just so happy with the music I made for that play, and so much of it just didn't make it. And it wasn't because it was bad, and it wasn't because, the director didn't like it or it didn't work technically. It could have all worked, but I spent so much time just going, "Nope, don't need it. Nope. The music's there already. I don't need to make music for this. There's already music here." The sound world was the same. Those cues that I threw out were still part of that world. And maybe in a different universe, or maybe if the play went on, or started before, those cues would have worked. But the whole right now, when I think about my journey in theater, where I'm at now is like, how do I do less? Because if I figure out a way to do less, I'll be better with my gesture. And I think that's what theater really taught me. Whereas music, it's more about like, how do I make it funkier and what, it, and that's influenced my composition as well, of course. But theater has taught me like, how do you make a gesture that is the most potent gesture you can make? And 9 times out of 10, it's the simplest one. Because I have to say, even after doing so much theater for so long, I am hopeless at reading scripts.
Yeah, everybody. I am.
I'm like, I know this is English.
No, I fully understand. That's something that happens to everybody, and and to me as well.
So what is that? I mean, you're a playwright.
I'm horribly bad at it, but there's a trick though. You can, if you do it with somebody else. Let's say, uh, we do it here. My partner and me, we do it. We read together,
Right.
but which ends up that she reads and I listen because her Spanish is better than mine. But
Right.
that which is also fun. No, and then we read Lorca, which is high level language, beautiful, poetic, um, and then you need to lose the respect. Find find the fun, the joke, the irony. But that's of the from blood, as we say in German, of the paper. It's horrible. Nobody can do it. I think actually would make sense to give classes about that. Let's say in the beginning of a theater career, everybody has to read loud, also to lose the fear. But basically, you have to be rather reckless to 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 succeed in it.
That's interesting. I love that idea of being reckless and to lose respect. And yeah, I think there is a there is something in that.
Because a writer, if I would say in general, without being too harsh to my colleagues, live or dead, wants to make a point. He wants to impress. He wants, especially in the first scenes, or in the first one. Maybe in our class for how to read plays, we should only read first scenes. So there's a guy or a woman coming out on stage and saying this or this. So she wants an impact.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, what when you make a record, you think about your first track.
Sure, of course.
You might not have a burner like rock and roll, no, but you say, "Ah, okay, let's do this one, and then let's open the door here," and that's something you have to keep in mind. Theater is healthily effectful as well. I mean, it can be really intimate and sensible and everything, but still, since theater is a public act,
Mm. Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
and the music in theater is also a public act. It's never intimate, so that's something one has to keep in mind when you read it. But I mean, these plays like Idomeneus, that's not easy to read really, because you don't get the picture really. You need you have too many actors, too many voices involved,
Yeah.
and that's also what makes it sort of complicated.
So here's the thing. How did you do it? I mean, you wrote it, right? And as we did it, all this stuff, it was kind of like one clear January morning. All these things began to reveal themselves in the reading and in Indomineus, Winter Sol, all the plays that I've done of yours. Those things start to reveal themselves, those relationships, those points of contact, those resonances, the ear, the dissonances, all those things began to reveal themselves. So I mean, that's you. You did that. I mean, I did that a little bit, but you set that up.
Yeah, but I also have to restart and re-listening to my own track again and again and again. It's
Right.
like you have to comb that hair and do it again and over again, and not there's no way to just jump on page 52 and say let's change a little thing. You have to read it from the beginning again and again and again. It's a long it's a long process, but I guess that's in music, in your music, the same. I'm not I'm not gonna fix the ending here. You have to listen to it from the beginning to know what the ending is really what it needs. That's the complicated thing. But also the beautiful thing. It's slow.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. And when do we ever get to be slow anymore?
Hmm.
You know,
That's the point.
we're coming on to the end of it, and I wonder if maybe as two old men who've been doing this a little while, do we have any advice? You're like, I'm not old. What are you talking about?
I might be, you're not.
What do we want to tell somebody who's young and discovering theater, like that me, when I first heard Arabian Nights and kind of going, wait a minute, what is this? What is the thing we want them to know or discover or be open to?
I
You
would
think?
be afraid that this young person would say, "Oh, come on, you old fart! I won't take any advice from you," and it would be okay also. So that would maybe be one of my first advices. I would say, tell your story. That's yes. Don't tell other people's story. That you can relate to that later when you can make other people's stories yours part of your story. But I think in the beginning, what's your story? What's your anger? What's your grief? What's your family? What's your background? What are your hopes? Um, these things. And when you take this serious, then something interesting will come out. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had kind of the same experience, when I moved to Toronto. I had lived in Japan for a year and then I traveled and then I moved to Toronto to become a musician. And a friend of mine who I knew in Japan, she was working for Blue Note, the jazz label in New York, that was being run by a Japanese company. And so the label brought these Japanese jazz musicians to come and do a tour. And so they came to Toronto and she said, you speak Japanese. Can you help them? And you're a musician. So I hung out with them the whole day and I helped them, with the stuff and translated. And at the end of the day, the person who is running the theater, he gave me this piece of advice. I swear to God, it's basically the same thing you said. It's not about how fast you play or how good you are or how many instruments you can play. It's really the people are going to hire you because of who you are, not because you're the fastest or you have the most drums. They're going to hire you because of who you are. No one else can be you. Only you can be you. So in a way, same thing, right? Like you tell your own story and not somebody else's, and even when you are telling somebody else's, you are still the only you in the room. There's only
Absolutely.
you. Yeah. It's a great, I think it's a great way to think about your life, which is,
Yeah. Well, you have to get there.
yeah.
You have to accept that. You have to, and because sometimes you don't see it so clear. Who are you?
Yeah, true.
What's my, where do I come from? Many detours maybe, but that's all part of it.
Yeah.
And that's what in the end makes it so rich.
Roland. So great to hang out with you, man.
We will do so again in live and color, hopefully soon in Toronto.
Indeed. Anytime. You know where I live.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.